The news of Liam Payne's passing sent shockwaves throughout the music world and the millions of fans who had followed his career from the beginning. A central figure in the worldwide phenomenon that was One Direction, Payne's death left an irreplaceable void in the hearts of both his family and his fans. The funeral, held at St. Mary's Church, marked a somber moment of reflection, remembrance, and farewells for a man who had touched so many lives with his music, charisma, and kind spirit. This moment was deeply personal for those who were closest to Liam Payne, his family, former bandmates, and loved ones, who all came together to honor his memory in an intimate and emotional ceremony. While the public had no access to the private event, the funeral was covered by the media, and small groups of fans gathered nearby, showing their own tributes and love for the late singer. Amersham, a town known for its charming streets and historical architecture, became a place of deep reflection on the day of Liam Payne's funeral. As the funeral procession made its way to St. Mary's Church, the town experienced an outpouring of grief from both the public and the private mourners who filled the church. The church itself, a stunning structure dating back to the 12th century, is a symbol of tradition and continuity which seemed fitting for such a profound moment. St. Mary's Church, nestled in the heart of Amersham, was the venue where Liam Payne's family, friends, and former bandmates would come together to say their final goodbyes. The choice of this particular church was symbolic of Liam's roots in the UK and the quiet yet powerful impact he had on the world. Despite its small size, the church was filled with memories of Payne's rise to fame and the life he lived, with the walls echoing the songs of a man whose voice had resonated with millions across the globe. Those in attendance were not only family members and close friends, but also the surviving members of One Direction: Harry Styles, Niall Horan, Zayn Malik, and Louis Tomlinson. These men had spent the formative years of their lives together, transforming from 5 young boys into one of the most successful pop bands in history. Their bond was forged through years of touring, recording, and living in the public eye. But now, in the face of Payne's passing, the remaining members of the band had come together again to support one another through the grief of losing their close friend and brother. Niall was a poignant reflection of the deep bond they shared throughout their career. Harry Styles, Niall Horan, Zayn Malik, and Louis Tomlinson, despite their own lives and careers taking separate paths after One Direction's hiatus, had remained deeply connected by their shared experiences in the band and the brotherhood they formed. Their attendance at the funeral was more than just a public gesture. It was a powerful statement of loyalty, love, and loss. In the years since the band's breakup, the members of One Direction had continued to find success in their own right, but they never forgot the roots they shared and the profound influence they had on one another's lives. For Harry, Niall, Zayn, and Louis, the funeral was an opportunity to honor the life of their friend and bandmate, and it also gave them a chance to reflect on the incredible journey they had taken together. For Harry Styles, whose career had soared after leaving One Direction, this moment was undoubtedly one of great personal significance. His friendship with Liam Payne was known to be strong, and the grief of losing such a close companion was evident on his face. Harry had always been the more enigmatic and reserved member of the band, often letting his music and style speak for him. But at Liam's funeral, he was visibly affected by the loss. As he stood with his fellow bandmates and mourned the death of one of the most important people in his life, it was clear that the bond they had was much deeper than just the music. Niall Horan, who had been known for his affable and down-to-earth nature, took the time to reflect on his years with Liam. The two shared many memories from their time in One Direction, and Niall's sadness was palpable. He had always been a supportive figure in the band, often the peacemaker who helped smooth over tensions. At Liam's funeral, Niall's grief mirrored that of the others, as they all navigated the painful reality of losing a close friend and collaborator.
Just about paying respect, isn't it, really? Showing that he did have people that really cared, even people that weren't close to him. It's really sad. I grew up watching him on telly, going to his concerts with my little sister, so it's just nice to pay respects for him and his family, and especially his little boy.
Massive fan of One Direction growing up. Niall was my favourite. I hope that's not rude or anything, but no, I'm really sad when I found out he passed away. I was shocked, and especially the way he passed away was tragic, really.
I just thought I'd pay my respects. I followed them since they started on X Factor, and it sort of shook me when I heard the news he died. So I thought I'd just come down and pay my respects. I'm not here for any other reason. I don't want to see anyone. I just wanted to pay my respects.
Zayn Malik, who had left One Direction in 2015, had a complicated relationship with the band, but his attendance at the funeral spoke volumes. Zayn, who had taken a different musical direction after his departure, had always been a more private figure. His return to pay his respects to Liam indicated the lasting bond they had shared during their years in One Direction. The fact that Zayn was present at such an emotional event signaled the importance of Liam's friendship and the significance of their time together in the band. Louis Tomlinson, who had remained particularly close to Liam, also attended the funeral to say goodbye to his friend. Louis, like the others, had forged deep connections within the band, and his bond with Liam was one that had weathered the challenges of their fame and personal lives. As a fellow father and family-oriented person, Louis likely felt the deep loss of a man who was not just a bandmate, but also a close companion in the highs and lows of life. As these four men stood together at Liam's funeral, it was a stark reminder of the incredible journey they had shared, both as a band and as brothers. Though their paths had diverged in different directions after One Direction's hiatus, they were united in grief. Celebrating Liam's life and legacy, the loss of Liam Payne was not only felt by his bandmates, but also by his family and close friends. His parents, who had been an integral part of his upbringing, were understandably devastated by his passing. Despite the overwhelming sorrow, they took comfort in knowing that their son had left a lasting impact on the world through his music and generosity. His father, mother, and sisters stood together, providing each other with the strength they needed to navigate the overwhelming grief. Perhaps one of the most emotional moments of the funeral was the presence of Liam's girlfriend, Kate Cassidy, who had been in a committed relationship with him at the time of his death. The couple had been seen together on several occasions, sharing moments of happiness and affection. Kate had played an important role in Liam's life, offering him a sense of stability and love. Her grief at losing her partner was unimaginable, and her presence at the funeral was a testament to the deep connection they had shared. In addition to Kate, another significant figure in Liam's life was his former partner, Cheryl Tweedy. Although their romantic relationship had ended, the two remained close and co-parented their son, Bear. The presence of Cheryl at the funeral was symbolic of the continued respect and affection between the two, despite their separation. Cheryl had been a supportive figure in Liam's life for many years, and her grief was evident as she stood alongside his family to mourn the loss of the man they had once shared a life with. The funeral service was a time for Liam's family to reflect on his life, both in public and private. His parents spoke of the joy he had brought to their lives, and his sisters shared fond memories of growing up with Liam. They recalled his sense of humor, his kindness, and his unwavering love for his family. Liam had always placed his family first, and they in turn had been a constant source of love and support throughout his career. As the service continued, family and friends shared their own stories of Liam, speaking of his generosity, his drive to succeed, and his ability to make everyone around him feel special. Liam's legacy, as expressed by his loved ones, was one of love, kindness, and a determination to bring joy to those around him. His music was, of course, a vital part of his legacy, but the memories of him as a son, a partner, a father, and a friend were just as significant. While the funeral was an intimate and private affair, the global community of Liam Payne's fans mourned alongside his family and friends. Many of his fans had followed him from the beginning of his journey with One Direction, and they had always felt a deep connection to him as an artist and as a person. The loss of Liam was not just the loss of a famous pop star, but the loss of a man who had impacted their lives in meaningful ways. A small group of fans gathered outside St. Mary's Church, unable to enter but still wanting to express their grief. They stood behind a cordon, holding signs and flowers as a sign of respect. The quiet gathering of these fans was a reflection of the deep admiration and love they had for Liam. The fans knew that while they could not be part of the private ceremony, they could still show their appreciation for the man who had given them so much joy through his music and presence. This moment, though private, was one that fans around the world could relate to. The outpouring of love for Liam Payne from his global fan base was a testament to the impact he had on so many people. Social media flooded with tributes and messages of support, with fans sharing their favorite memories, songs, and moments with Liam. The connection between Liam and his fans was palpable, and even in death, his influence continued to inspire and move people around the world. The funeral procession itself was a poignant tribute to Liam's life and legacy. His coffin was transported in a white horse-drawn hearse, a traditional and somber choice that added to the dignity of the occasion. The hearse was adorned with beautiful floral tributes, with flowers spelling out the words "Son" and "Daddy," symbols of the love Liam had for his family and the love they had for him. The procession to the church was a quiet, dignified affair, with the horse-drawn hearse making its way through the streets of Amersham. It was a fitting and elegant way to say goodbye to a man who had lived his life in the spotlight, but had always remained humble and grounded. The floral tributes, carefully arranged to spell out messages of love, were a touching reflection of the deep affection Liam had for his family. Liam Payne's funeral marked the end of a chapter in the lives of those who knew and loved him. It was a moment of deep sadness, but also one of celebration, as his legacy will continue to inspire future generations. His family, friends, and fans will carry his memory in their hearts, remembering not just the music he made, but the man he was. In the quiet moments and the loud ones, they will always remember the joy he brought to so many lives. The world will miss Liam Payne, but his spirit will live on through his music, his love, and the memories of those who knew him best. Liam Payne's passing was not only a tragedy for his immediate family, but also for his fans around the world. The global outpouring of grief was a testament to the impact he had during his career as a member of One Direction, and the personal warmth he offered those who were close to him. In the wake of his death, the people who loved him, family, friends, and bandmates, gathered at St. Mary's Church in Amersham, UK, to pay their final respects and bid farewell to a man whose life had touched millions. The funeral, a deeply emotional and intimate ceremony, was a moment for reflection on Payne's legacy, not just as an international pop star, but as a son, a father, a partner, and a friend. One of the most poignant aspects of the funeral was the presence of Liam's closest loved ones, who were there to honor him in a deeply personal way. His family, who had been by his side through the ups and downs of his career, took center stage as they paid tribute to the man they had known long before the world knew his name. Liam's parents, Karen and Jeff Payne, were undoubtedly the first people who felt the impact of his loss on a deeply personal level. From his early days growing up in Wolverhampton, Liam had always maintained a close bond with his parents, who had been unwavering in their support of his music career from the moment he first auditioned for the X Factor. They had witnessed his transformation from a young boy with dreams of musical stardom into one of the biggest pop stars in the world. Now, in the face of such a devastating loss, they were left to reflect on the joy and pride Liam had brought them during his lifetime. His parents stood side by side as they remembered their son, cherishing the memories of his laughter, his compassion, and his devotion to them. Alongside Liam's parents were his sisters, Ruth and Nicola. They had grown up with him in a family that valued love and togetherness, and their connection to Liam went far beyond his fame. The sisters were not just mourners at the ceremony, they were the ones who had known him best, long before he became a global celebrity. They had shared childhood memories, the everyday joys of family life, and the unique experiences of watching their brother navigate the world of celebrity, success, and the pressures that came with it. In the years following Liam's rise to fame, Ruth and Nicola had always remained constants in his life. They helped to ground him when the pressures of fame became too much, offering support and comfort when needed. Their grief at his passing was palpable as they stood together, grieving the loss of a brother who had been a beacon of light in their lives. In their eyes, he was not just a pop star, but a beloved sibling, someone who had shared their deepest secrets and greatest joys. The funeral was a moment for the family to come together, sharing not just their sadness, but also their gratitude for the time they had spent with him. Another heart-wrenching presence at the funeral was Kate Cassidy, Liam Payne's girlfriend at the time of his death. Their relationship had been a more private aspect of Liam's life, but those who knew him best understood the deep connection he shared with Kate. She had been by his side in the years leading up to his passing, offering him love, companionship, and support. Their bond had become more apparent over time, and it was clear from the way they interacted that they had grown incredibly close. Kate, a figure who had largely stayed out of the public eye, was now thrust into the spotlight under the most heartbreaking of circumstances. Her grief was unmistakable as she mourned the loss of the man who had become her partner, confidant, and support system. As someone who had shared so many intimate moments with Liam, Kate's role at the funeral was a reflection of the deep personal connection they had built during their time together. Her loss was one that was felt deeply, not only by her but also by those who knew how much Liam had meant to her. Kate stood with Liam's family, showing her unwavering support for his loved ones during this incredibly difficult time. Her presence at the funeral was a reminder that beyond his public persona, Liam was a man who was deeply loved by those closest to him. Kate, like his parents and sisters, would now be left to navigate the painful reality of living without him. Another significant person who paid tribute to Liam's legacy was his former partner, Cheryl Tweedy. Though their romantic relationship had ended years before, Cheryl remained a prominent figure in Liam's life, especially as the mother of their son, Bear. The two had shared many years together, and even after their separation, they continued to co-parent Bear, ensuring that their son would have a strong, loving family structure, despite their differences. attendance at the funeral was a reflection of the respect and affection that still existed between her and Liam. The couple had gone through a lot together, navigating the highs and lows of celebrity life, becoming parents, and experiencing personal challenges. Despite the end of their romantic relationship, Cheryl and Liam had remained amicable, often seen together at family events for Bear. Their connection was built on shared experiences and a mutual understanding of each other's lives, something that was deeply apparent as Cheryl grieved the loss of the man she once loved. As the mother of Liam's child, Cheryl's grief was compounded by the realization that Bear would now grow up without his father. The loss of Liam was something that would forever impact their son, and Cheryl's emotions during the funeral were understandably raw. She had to say goodbye to not just the man she had once shared a life with, but also to the father of her child. Cheryl, like Kate, stood alongside Liam's family, sharing in the collective mourning that reverberated throughout the church and beyond. While the funeral was an intimate affair reserved for family, friends, and those who had been closest to Liam throughout his life, a small group of dedicated fans gathered nearby at St. Mary's Church to pay their respects. Though they were unable to participate in the ceremony itself, these fans stood behind a cordon, silently observing the solemn occasion. They held flowers and signs with messages of love for Liam, expressing their gratitude for the music he had shared with the world and the joy he had brought to their lives. The presence of the fans outside the church was a reflection of the deep connection they felt with Liam. Though they had never met him personally, his music had been a constant source of comfort and inspiration to them. The One Direction fandom, known for its global reach and unwavering loyalty, had always seen Liam not just as a member of a pop group, but as someone who understood them, someone whose music and words resonated with their own struggles and joys. For these fans, the funeral was an opportunity to show their appreciation and to mourn the loss of someone who had been a significant part of their lives for many years. As the fans stood together in quiet reverence, they also shared memories of the concerts, the albums, and the moments they had experienced while supporting Liam throughout his career. Many fans had followed him from the beginning of One Direction, and as the band's career evolved, so did their own connection to the music and the man who had sung those words. For them, Liam was more than just a celebrity. He was a symbol of hope, of resilience, and of the power of music to bring people together. Though the fans remained outside the church, their presence was a powerful reminder of the global impact Liam had made. They were a part of the extended family that had helped to create the legacy Liam would leave behind. Their mourning, while quieter and more distant, was just as heartfelt as the emotions shared by his family and friends inside the church. The grief was shared by people from all walks of life, each of whom had a unique connection to the late star, and their collective sorrow echoed across the world. As the funeral procession continued, the symbolic gestures of love and respect continued to pour in. Outside the church, fans and well-wishers laid flowers in tribute to Liam. Some of the floral arrangements were simple, while others were elaborate, but all were a reflection of the love and admiration Liam had garnered over the years. Flowers in the shape of his initials, roses representing his musical journey, and simple bouquets inscribed with heartfelt messages all lined the church grounds. Among the most touching tributes were those that read "Son," "Daddy," and "Brother," as Liam's family honored the many roles he had played in their lives. The floral tributes were a final, beautiful act of remembrance, a way for those who could not attend the service to express their grief and show their support. The messages left alongside the flowers were personal and heartfelt, offering a glimpse into the profound impact Liam had had on his fans and the world. In that moment, it became clear that while the funeral marked a formal goodbye, it was by no means the end of Liam's legacy. His memory would live on in the music he created, the lives he touched, and the love he had shared with so many. The day of Liam Payne's funeral was an emotional and poignant event, a time for those who had known him best to say goodbye and to honor his life. From his family to his bandmates to his devoted fans, the world came together to reflect on the legacy of a man who had touched their hearts in ways that words could not fully capture. While the pain of his Loss was immense. The celebration of his life reminded everyone of the profound impact he had made and the love that would continue to surround him even after his passing. Liam Payne's tragic passing on October 16th marked the end of an era, not just for his family, friends, and the music world, but for millions of fans around the globe. The young star who rose to fame as a member of the global boy band One Direction had faced many personal battles throughout his career, from the overwhelming pressures of fame to substance abuse struggles. As the world continues to mourn the loss of a beloved singer, details surrounding his final moments have sparked a deeper reflection on his legacy, the circumstances leading to his death, and the overwhelming love and grief shared by those who knew him best. Liam Payne's funeral was a deeply emotional occasion, filled with somber tributes and the overwhelming love of those who had been a part of his life. One of the most striking aspects of the ceremony was the arrival of Payne's coffin, which was carried in a white horse-drawn hearse. This symbolic gesture was not only a reflection of the respect and reverence his family and loved ones had for him, but it also spoke to the elegance and quiet dignity of the occasion. The hearse, adorned with flowers spelling out son and daddy, underscored the deep familial bonds that defined Liam's relationships and the love that surrounded him. The floral tributes were an overwhelming presence throughout the funeral. Beautiful arrangements of roses, lilies, and daisies adorned the church, creating a peaceful, almost reverential atmosphere. Each floral display was carefully selected to reflect Liam's personality, his music, and the warmth he had shared with those around him. These tributes were not just for the star who had brought joy to millions with his voice, but for the man who had touched hearts on a deeply personal level. The flowers inscribed with the words son and daddy were especially poignant, as they represented the man behind the public persona. Liam was not just a pop star, he was a son, a brother, a father, and a friend. These simple words encapsulated the complexity of his life, a life that had been tragically cut short, but not without leaving behind a legacy of love and memories. Liam Payne's untimely death sent shockwaves through the music industry and around the world. On October 16, 2024, Payne tragically fell from a hotel balcony in Buenos Aires, Argentina. He was 31 years old. The circumstances surrounding his death have been the subject of much speculation and sorrow, with many struggling to understand how a man so full of life and promise could be taken so suddenly. The fall, which occurred at a hotel where Payne had been staying while traveling for work, was initially reported as an accident. However, details began to surface that suggested that the singer had been struggling with personal demons in the days leading up to his death. He was reportedly alone in his hotel room at the time, and it's believed that he may have been in the midst of a substance abuse episode. While the specifics of the incident are still being investigated, the heartbreaking reality is that Liam Payne's life ended far too soon, and the tragedy left a void in the lives of his loved ones, his fans, and the music world. The loss of such a vibrant, talented individual has been deeply felt by all who knew him, especially as many people had hoped for a different outcome after his long struggles with fame, addiction, and personal turmoil. In the wake of Liam's passing, reports have emerged suggesting that Payne had been experiencing a difficult time with substance abuse in the weeks leading up to the tragic incident. It has been revealed that he was alone at the time of his fall, and there are reports indicating that he may have been under the influence of substances, contributing to his tragic death. Liam Payne had been open about his struggles with addiction and the pressures that came with being in the spotlight at a young age. His experiences with fame, both as a member of One Direction and later as a solo artist, had been well documented. The bright lights of stardom had often been tempered by a darker side, where substance abuse became a way to cope with the overwhelming stress, anxiety, and emotional toll that came with living in the public eye. For years, Payne had spoken candidly about his challenges with alcohol and other substances, acknowledging the toll that his rise to fame had taken on his mental and physical health. His openness about these struggles made him a figure who many people could relate to, as he was not afraid to address the darker side of fame that is often hidden from the public eye. However, despite the strides Liam made in his personal life and career, the battle against addiction remained a difficult and ongoing challenge. The investigation into his death highlighted the deep complexity of his struggles, painting a picture of a man who had worked hard to overcome his demons, but who was ultimately fighting an internal battle that he could not fully win. His passing served as a stark reminder of how substance abuse can impact individuals, no matter their fame or success. As the news of Liam's death spread, tributes poured in from all corners of the world. His family, bandmates, and close friends expressed their heartbreak over the loss of a man who had meant so much to so many. Liam's family, particularly his parents, were among the first to express their devastation. His mother, Karen, and father, Jeff, issued a statement saying that they were devastated beyond words by the loss of their beloved son. They shared how proud they had always been of Liam and how much joy he had brought to their lives. His siblings, Ruth and Nicola, also expressed their sorrow, with Ruth taking to social media to describe Liam as the best brother and thanking him for all the wonderful memories they had shared together. Perhaps the most poignant tributes came from Liam's bandmates in One Direction, who had been by his side for so many years. Harry Styles, Niall Horan, Zayn Malik, and Louis Tomlinson each paid their respects in their own way, acknowledging the profound bond they had shared with Liam, both as a bandmate and as a friend. Harry Styles, who had formed a particularly close bond with Liam during their years together in One Direction, wrote a touching message on social media. Liam was one of the kindest, most talented people I've ever met. We shared a bond that will never be broken. I am heartbroken by this news, and my thoughts are with his family and loved ones. Niall Horan, who also had a close friendship with Liam, spoke about their shared experiences, both in and out of the spotlight. Liam was more than a friend to me. He was a brother. We went through everything together, good times, bad times, and everything in between. I'll miss him more than words can say. Louis Tomlinson, who had a particularly emotional connection with Liam due to their shared experiences within the band, said, "Liam was always the glue that held us together. We had a bond that was unspoken, and I will carry that with me forever. Rest in peace, my brother." Even Zayn Malik, who had left One Direction in 2015 and had not maintained as much contact with the band in recent years, expressed his sorrow. Zayn wrote, "I'm deeply saddened by the loss of Liam. He was a talented and kind-hearted person, and I'll always remember the moments we shared. My heart goes out to his family and all who knew him." These messages from his family and bandmates were just a small glimpse into the immense love and admiration Liam had earned throughout his life. Despite the pressures and challenges that came with fame, he had formed deep, lasting connections with those closest to him, and their grief at his passing was palpable. Liam Payne's career had been nothing short of extraordinary. As a member of One Direction, he helped shape the global pop phenomenon that became one of the biggest boy bands in history. From their first appearance on The X Factor to their record-breaking albums and sold-out tours, One Direction's success was unparalleled. Liam's smooth voice and charismatic presence made him a fan favorite, and his contributions to the band's songwriting were also widely recognized. When the band went on hiatus in 2016, Liam transitioned into a successful solo career. His debut solo single, Strip That Down, was a commercial hit, showcasing his evolution as an artist and his ability to create music that resonated with both his fans and a wider audience. He followed it up with additional singles and collaborations, further cementing his place in the music industry. Liam's potential as a solo artist was undeniable, and his career seemed poised for continued success. His passion for music, his creative vision, and his desire to connect with his audience all pointed to a bright future ahead. Tragically, that future was cut short. Liam Payne's death left the music world in mourning, and many fans and fellow musicians alike were left to wonder what could have been had he been given the opportunity to continue his journey. Liam Payne had always been open about the difficulties he faced in coping with the overwhelming pressures of fame. From a young age, he had been thrust into the limelight as a member of One Direction, a journey that brought immense success, but also unimaginable stress. The constant media scrutiny, the demands of touring, and the personal sacrifices that come with being in the public eye all took a toll on Liam. To navigate the pressures of fame at such a young age, the constant attention and expectations placed on him were overwhelming, and at times he struggled to balance his public persona with his personal life. His battles with substance abuse, which he had long spoken about, were often compounded by these pressures, making it difficult for him to find stability and peace. Despite these struggles, Liam remained committed to his fans and his music, and he continued to push forward. His courage in speaking openly about his battles with addiction made him a role model for many, as he showed that it was possible to seek help and make progress, even when the road seemed difficult. His death, however, was a stark reminder of how far-reaching the effects of fame and substance abuse can be. As we continue to reflect on Liam Payne's life and legacy, it is clear that his story is one of triumphs, challenges, and profound loss. While his career was cut short, the impact he made on music and the lives of those who knew him will never be forgotten. The tribute paid to him by his loved ones and fans is a testament to the love and admiration that surrounded him throughout his life, and his memory will continue to inspire and resonate with generations to come.